Thanks for tuning in. I'm Natalie Long. I'm one of the indoor plant specialists here at Rogers Gardens. And today we're going to be talking about how to fertilize your indoor houseplants. With fertilizing, a lot of people want to fertilize just to keep the health up in your plants, or a lot of times your plants will eventually need it too. If it's just been in the pot too long, or if sometimes if the leaves are yellowing really often, it's a sign that it will need some nutrients. So here I'm going to show you some different ways to help your plants keep up their health. So first of all, I just want to start with the favorite fertilizer I like to use. This is going to be an all-organic fish and guano. It's pretty much just like really concentrated aquarium water, and guano is fish and, I'm sorry, not fish, fat and bird poop essentially. But it's got a lot of great nutrients in there, like nitrogen and calcium and all that kind of good stuff that are good for the leaves and the green foliage of your houseplants. So that's a really good one. You can even use it every time you water if you like, or even once a month will do just fine too. This is a really good one that you can't really burn your plants, but I really like to use that. You can also use Seagrow. And this one is just going to be an all-balanced fertilizer, which means the NPK numbers are going to be the fertilizer numbers here. So if you're not familiar with those, the first number represents nitrogen, then phosphorus, and then potassium. So nitrogen is going to be really helpful in greening up the leaves and just having a lot of nice big foliage on your plants. Then the middle number, phosphorus is going to be more for blooming plants. So you can use a higher phosphorus fertilizer for like begonias if you want them to flower more, but they're mostly for blooming plants like African violets and orchids and stuff like that. And then the last number is going to help out the roots. Usually that number isn't going to be very high unless it's a very balanced fertilizer. So you don't really need a very strong root one. They usually don't come that way either. So it's usually going to be focused on the nitrogen or the phosphorus for the blooms or the leaves. So that one's kind of just a good equalized one. You don't have to use very often because it is very high in number, so it's more concentrated. You can use this one maybe every couple of months or 3 months or so. That one's a good one. You mix it in your watering can. And then there's also kind of just some good overall soil health things. You can use worm castings as well. I like to use these in all of my plants. This one is called Worm Grow. Essentially that's worm poop, but it's very good for your plants, and it really helps take in more nutrients and make it more accessible for the plant to absorb them in the soil too. So that's kind of nice, and it just looks nice on top of your soil too. It's just kind of like a black look. You don't really see the other rocks in the soil, just visually appealing. It's nice. And then each time you water it, it'll kind of leach more nutrients into the soil, so over time it might be less maintenance for you to just do worm castings. And then also I brought a couple more things for maybe if you're just starting a plant, like you have some cuttings or you're repotting. These are Mycorrhizae Fungi. So pretty much like in your soil pots, there's a whole ecosystem going on in there. Ways to take up nutrients and stuff like that. Your soil can lose the ability to soak up those nutrients over time. And the Mycorrhizae Fungi kind of just helps the roots connect with the soil in a way, and so they can pretty much just uptake nutrients easier, and there's just more beneficial bacteria to help out your plant in the long run. So these are really cool. You can kind of just mix them in the soil and it just kind of boosts the health of it. And then we also have like a root boost hormone, so if you have like a cutting, you can just kind of cut it, dip the cutting in this rooting hormone, and then you can put it in some dirt and it just kind of helps it root easier. So that's kind of a good way to help the new cuttings grow faster. And then other than that, we've just got some kind of regular other indoor fertilizers. This one's a good one, the Espoma. This one is already measured out, so right when you pour it, it's already the good amount for the gallon, so you don't need to do any measuring. But yeah, and then if you have any other flowering plants like African violets or orchids, you may want to do a more specialty fertilizer like Here we have a little African violet, and this is the good fertilizer for it. So again, that one's just kind of focused more on the phosphorus in there for the blooms rather than the foliage. So that will kind of help more specific plants. And then, let's see, I think that's about it. So, do we have any questions? No questions, okay. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you learned something about caring for your houseplants. If you have any questions in the future, please leave them in the comments below. And make sure to tune into our Instagram for the future. We've got a lot of cool things coming up for Earth Day. And some exciting spring events, doing a plant swap in May. So that'll be really fun. So be sure to stay tuned for that. And thanks for watching.